So, welcome, Yoram, for the third uh, recording that we're doing together. I'm really happy to have you back on. Firstly, because you are actually the most popular guest that I have, with thousands of views, literally, and also I really like listening to you. And let's just see, how do you want to proceed? I do want to give you kind of, I said earlier I would like to be involved somehow, but I also just want to have, I do want you to have the flow actually. So, what would somehow touch the topic in you? I know we want to talk about mourning today. I just want to ask you, how would you like to approach that at the moment?
I have some ideas of what I might like to share, and yeah, your intervention will probably mix my ideas and take it in different directions. So at this moment, I feel open to just see how it will go with your, I don't know if to call it guidance or.
Yeah. Yeah. Just wondering, people who may not know you, I think probably most people who listen will know you. Is there anything that you would like to say about yourself that you would enjoy sharing for people listening, maybe to you for the first time?
Very, very shortly, I'm Yoram Mosenzon. I'm a trainer in nonviolent communication and mediator. So I dedicated especially my last 18 years in sharing nonviolent communication and spent my last 26 years in learning nonviolent communication, and that really became my spiritual path, or my sort of my how do you say, my vector of what I want to learn.
Hmm.
It's very clear to me that I will not manage to learn it in one lifetime, because I'm not interested in it as a theory. It's not about intellectually understanding it. That takes maybe half a year to understand. To embody it, it's a cultural revolution for every cell in my body as to what I learned before, how to be with people, how to see myself, how to navigate situations. So yeah, I'm really obsessed with learning how to be human and how to see humans.
Yeah. I feel moved to add something there.
Yeah.
And I don't want to, on the one hand, it's about my experience with you and your work. And on the one hand, I don't want to create expectations that you can't meet or whatever. But it is significant to me that I remember at least twice, especially in your in-person work. One time in Amsterdam, I think it was the mediation year course. One time in Zurich, where I was also assisting at one of your workshops. But they had, I would call them kind of mystical or almost psychedelic experiences, or kind of visionary experiences. For me, it speaks to the kind of openness that your work has created in my heart. And it's no denying those experiences. It's very powerful work. So just want to thank you for that. And I think, again, not to create expectations, but it's quite magical to to have been working with you. Yeah.
I'm very happy to hear, and I'm very happy you say it, because one of the challenging thing is about how to build trust with people who don't know me. Like why people would trust me, that there is something meaningful that I can bring, and that's always kind of one of the most vulnerable thing for me. Like, and I imagine for every human being, like you want to bring what you love, but it feels very vulnerable, and trust is a key there. Like, trust is what you named as openness, the openness to receive. So I'm happy you say it, because I imagine it can bring some more trust in people, that maybe this guy maybe carries something that can be meaningful, which is in a way all my dream is that people will come to me with that openness.
I really just love you to be in the flow. And so I would love to go wherever you feel now called, because you carry for me so much, you can call it wisdom, but so much experience. And as you say, the embodiment of NVC. So I would love you to just take it away. Yeah.
Okay. And please stop me at any moment to bring yourself or bring us to anywhere. So my kind of idea are coming to how to support the audience to understand how I look at mourning, at the art of mourning. So first to say what I for me what mourning means. That very kind of culturally, when I say to people, mourning, it's very often connected to grief when somebody dies. These kind of big events. And the way how I like to use the word mourning is to take the same principle, but to put it in many, many, many situations of daily life, which is basically means how to be with pain, how to trust pain and how to be with pain and how to allow the process of pain to happen. Just like when somebody dies, I need a certain process of accepting the reality as reality is. I don't know, my father is not there anymore. It's there is with that pains need a certain travel. So mourning is the sort of the process of how to allow pain to serve life. And with this also there is a cultural relationship to pain, at least the way what I learned to how I learn to relate to pain is that pain is something annoying. That if I feel pain, whatever pain, emotional pain, physical pain, the first thought that comes to my head is shit. I have pain. How to get rid of it, or how to solve it, or what should I do in order for the pain to go away? And that in itself, when I think, and maybe people who listen just notice when you think, I don't know, you feel pain, emotional pain, your partner was angry with you, or something bigger happened, there is pain. And the first thought is like, shit, I have pain, what to do in order to get rid of it? And what I notice when I think, oh shit, I have pain, what should I do? Even like the thought, what should I do, is a stressful thought. I should do something. Because when there is a should, there is immediately also the failure of shit. The pain is still there. So it immediately creates a movement of, what should I do if I fail? What should I do? I fail. What should I do? I fail. So that creates actually an extra pain that has nothing to do with the initial pain. That I don't know that, my partner didn't wash the dishes, and then I'm angry, and then I'm angry with myself for being angry. It's a new pain. Has nothing to do anymore with the dishes. So what I see that very often in the way how I learn to deal with pain, that actually the biggest part of the pain is this extra pain about how I learn to deal with pain. And then when I look at pain in itself as a feeling, feelings are there to serve life. Pain is there to serve life. Pain is very precious. For example, I had a guy in my village that he had a sickness where he doesn't feel pain. It's a very rare sickness. I was also watching it on YouTube. It's a terrible sickness. Like if you cannot feel pain, for example, babies when they have this sickness, when their teeth grow, it's a terrible. But they because they don't feel the pain, so they hurt themselves in such a way that you need to Or the guy in my village, he was once in the swimming pool and he almost drowned because he was like, yeah, it's so nice to swim. It's a terrible sickness if you don't feel pain. Pain is there to serve life, like all other feelings, like fear. I'm so happy that I feel fear. For example, I know I like this moment if I come to close to a cliff,
Hmm.
and you know how kind of like the body is like, and it's almost like retracting me backwards. And I'm so happy I have it, because if I will not have it, I would be like, wow, what a beautiful valley. Let's, let's give myself to the valley. I will not survive very long on the planet without pain, without fear, without anger, without, anger, for example, is such a beautiful pain, in the sense of like anger is helping me to get the power to stand up for needs, to stand up for myself, to stand up for life. Then there is a whole conversation about the way how we learn to express anger. That's another thing that creates a lot of damage. But anger itself is beautiful. Fear, pain, shame. And shame is such a beautiful emotion. It's there to protect belonging. It's a mechanism to hide myself, to make sure that I'm loved, that people still love me. It's to protect that I'm still part of the human tribe. So I love pain. Pain is there to serve life. So for me, the first, what I call kind of the new habit, if the old habit is, shit, I have pain, what to do in order to get rid of it? The new habit I'm very slowly building up inside of me is like, oh, pain, thank you for coming. You are here to serve life, to help me, to support me, to take care of something. And there is something that I discovered it already before, when I was a dancer, just in the body, when pain is welcome. When the feeling of pain itself is welcome, it starts to move. Feelings are like, I like the word emotion. They are in motion. Feelings are not static. And this, I really didn't learn it. I learned like, oh shit, I have pain, what to do? Kind of like, as if my brain knows more than my body about life. But actually, my body is extremely intelligent with how to, navigate life. And so trusting the body, or trusting the pain, that the pain is there to serve life. And actually, when it's welcome, it it cannot be static. One of the things that often people are scared to with welcoming pain is like, oh shit, it will stay forever. I call it, oh fuck, fuck, like FOC. The fear that it will stay forever, or the O is for I will get overwhelmed, or the C that I will get crazy. And this I see as a very kind of core reaction in people, either the fear that it will stay there forever, or I will become overwhelmed, or I even will become crazy if I will allow the pain to be welcomed into my body. So maybe we can do a little demo, you and me, to just to see that little phenomena that for me it's the core of my trust in pain, or in any emotion. Emotion is like, the core of emotion is sensation in the body. Feeling what we call sadness or anger, or it's a mental concept for a certain sensation in the body. The end feeling is a certain, if I feel sad, maybe it's like, certain like, or if I feel, anger is maybe a certain kind of movement. Do you want to do a little demo?
Yeah, I'm curious.
So I will sort of, you will be the body, and I will more kind of support you. Not really support, be with you. So would you like to close your eyes for a moment?
Yeah.
And either any unpleasant sensation calling your attention at this moment somewhere in your body.
That not yet really. um, I had some kind of cramping in my face that I sometimes have when I feel I'm being social, but that seems to be a bit subsided now. So my body is unfortunately quite feeling quite good at the moment. Let me check if I can find something.
Especially this kind of emotional, unpleasant sensation in the area of the torso. These are the easiest one to.
Yeah. I can say that there's a slight tension in my belly, a little bit higher than my navel.
A certain tension, a bit higher than the navel.
Yeah.
And then I want just to welcome it, almost like creating a space for it to do what it is they are already doing. Almost like to enjoy it with observing what it is they are doing.
Yeah, I like that a lot because I just feel my attitude shifts and I feel it's still there, but I just don't read it as something I have to do something about. It's quite like you said, it's just very pleasant to have this welcoming attitude towards it.
And then how is it now there?
So it feels like the edges are a bit softer and it's more, yes, in as a whole it's softer. It's subtle, but I can feel there's a difference.
And I want to welcome that kind of softening at the edges, to allow this softening to do what it is they are doing.
Yeah, almost like it's scripted, but it's now very difficult to even find that initial sensation anymore.
And if it kind of somehow flew away or.
Yeah, it's really more of a mental image that I know that there was a sensation there, but the softness has kind of just, that's kind of the whole area now is softer.
All right, we hold it there. Thank you. I did this with thousands of people, and I find it so incredible that when pain is welcome, it starts to move. What very often happens is because we have certain resistance to it, or an orientation from the head. It's like, oh, I should do something. Then it kind of be created and recreated. And I worked also with people with chronic pain with that, and it's really incredible that even with chronic pain, it's tend to move slower, or it also can come back, but there is a movement in it, and it changed everything. Actually, pain cannot stay. Pain is an emotion, is in motion, is a vibration, is a living organism. And that nobody was teaching me to trust the body to do what it is already there doing, that it knows actually more than the brain. I worked with people with quite extreme, states, I don't know, hyperventilation or anxiety attacks, or when people have psychosis, and I find it just amazing how incredible the body knows how to navigate it in the most. It's always become like a journey. What happened to you now is like, oh, like suddenly the edges are softened. I don't know why. I didn't expect it. Like I can never design it. And then suddenly, suddenly it disappear. And then maybe suddenly it will appear somewhere else or whatever. But it creates a certain journey that I would not be able to design ever. I'm always amazed that accompany people in it, because it's it's really feels like, God is doing something or nature is doing something that, sometimes people, start to shake or, or scream or throw up or whatever. And to continue trusting that, it's scary.
Mm.
But then suddenly it's like they are healed, kind of in a way. It's suddenly it's completely somewhere else, and it became the most meaningful journey. For me, that's what I call healing. Healing is the movement that the body is actually naturally does when it allows to do what it is they're doing, connecting with the natural. All the body, all the body knows how to do is healing. Like the body doesn't know in a way how to do something else. But I grew up in a culture that think that brains know better than body what to do.
Mm.
Pain, like what to do. Maybe I should take a painkiller. Maybe I should, take a antidepressive. And I'm not against pills, but I feel sad that that's became kind of the immediate solution of, for example, with painkillers. I'm always afraid to take a painkiller because, pain is there to tell me, wow, Yoram, be careful. I don't know, let's say I have pain in my throat, and if I will take painkiller, the pain is there to tell me, lower your voice. And if I take the painkiller and I make the pain go away, then I will continue a certain behavior that actually create more pain. So I'm just very concerned about it, and I'm amazed by how beautifully the body knows how to take care of me. To continue with my flow, Hans, or
I'm really enjoying it, and can I offer just a few things that come to me?
yeah.
Yeah, so it's really amazing that, and I don't want to make it about me, but I've been working with you quite a lot, and then later, so my recent interest is in this thing called Alethea coaching that also has focusing in it and some IFS in it, but that's actually also in your work in a felt sense, and not, it's really there. I guess it's just more explicit in the other modality, but also I know you, at least in the past, maybe still, I think you do also meditate or have meditated a fair bit. Is that correct?
I'm not meditating in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
I like the meditation. The last 15 years, I'm much more like the meditation in real life, like dialogues.
Yeah.
For me, dialogue is a meditation.
Yeah. Yeah. I just wanted to say that. So I also like the kind of regular meditation, let's say,
Mhm.
and the style I'm doing is called Vipassana, which is also very similar. And it's just I wanted to say that, for instance, just being with and actually feeling the with high resolution the feelings in the body, and then being with it, and then it moves. And this is really a big part of ancient Buddhist practice. And I like how it seems a very spontaneous part of your experience and teaching, because it comes from paying attention to yourself and trusting. So somehow what I enjoy a lot is that you come to these, what I find super wise directions, but by instead of reading a book or listening to a teacher necessarily, you're actually coming to that seemingly from witnessing yourself and
Mm,
trusting. And I really love that. For me, trust is the big word that resonates from what you have
mm.
shared. Yeah, that's what I wanted to. Yeah,
Thank you. I enjoy
yeah, yeah,
hearing.
yeah.
I receive it a deep appreciation, and it gives me kind of hope that, because I'm following my intuition, but when it contribute to others and that they see wisdom in it, that kind of reassuring for me that it's not only working on me, but it also works for other people. Thank you. So shall I hook it back to Mourning?
Mm-hmm.
So as I said at the beginning, so for me, Mourning is how to be with pain, is the process that pain needs, the time and space that it needs in order to travel within me. And there is, there is the big mourning, like somebody died, or the end of the relationship, or maybe I got sick, I don't know, diabetes, and it's a big mourning, a big pain that needs a certain process. And at the same time, it's also, for me, mourning is a daily practice. For example, if I bake a cake and I forgot it and it got burned, this kind of moment of, it's a pain. And mourning is when, suddenly there is a new painful information enter into the system. Mourning is the time needed to digest an unpleasant change. I imagine this cake, I imagine how I will eat it with my friends, and suddenly, like, it's burned and there is a ouch. And it needs a certain time within the body to be processed. And my biggest inspiration is children, how they mourn. It's just so beautiful. I don't know if a child, for example, they get an ice cream and they do the first lick and then the whole ice cream falls on the floor. They scream. They scream the ouch. And me as an adult, I learned to suppress my scream. Only if I feel safe. For example, I noticed if I'm alone in the kitchen and my cake got burned, then I shout. Fuck, But if there are people around, I am kind of making it more polite. But then it lasts longer when I don't allow children just live their emotions fully. They trust their bodies. And it's incredible how fast children mourn. It's so beautiful to see, for example, young children, I don't know, they build something and it fell, and then they're like, yeah! Or somebody took their, I don't know, they wanted the blue spoon and they got a red spoon, and like, ah! After 1 minute, they're already completely busy with something else. They don't even remember what happened before. And kind of the older people get, like, I see just the time of mourning become longer and longer. And at least in my body, I see it as I'm not allowing myself to live my emotion fully. I'm not trusting that. So mourning is a daily practice, is to allow myself to allow the pain to be processed in my body. And I had a friend that she often used to say, "Oh, I didn't have enough time to mourn today." Because every day there are so many unpleasant new information. I don't know. I ate too much. Or I don't know, I said hello to somebody and they were kind of, brushing it off. There is a pain. Or my girlfriend, like, I did something, I don't know, left her underwear in the whatever, like there is a certain pain. And I learned to try to, come on, it's not serious, it's not it. But to allow myself a moment to digest, to allow my system to digest the pain. And then it really transforms, like in the movement that happened in your body. When pain is welcome, it starts to move. I find it, just to say it, that I find it to be very hard to do it alone.
Can I ask a question about it?
Yeah.
Because I think you probably agree or something, but one thing that comes to me as you're sharing about that, the cake falls when I'm alone, I'll go like, fuck, which is, I would completely do. But I think there's, of course, also when there are other people, the reason why we maybe wouldn't do that is to take care of their needs of, probably they'll be scared or whatever. So that's so we do that less. But then what I understood is that, very often for people, that actually stops their mourning process, and then they'll kind of be holding it, and all that stuff happens. And one word that comes up in me is equanimity, which is also somehow floating around, of kind of being not necessarily not feeling emotions, but being able to have them and welcome them, as you say. And I think one part that I find important and I'm trying to learn is when I have those emotions, not to push them away. And like you said earlier about anger, also not to kind of externalize them or vocalize them, without care for the other person, but to just fully allow them to be there. Is that where you're kind of, yeah, would that be the full embodiment of how to do it with all the needs there, or how do you relate to that?
For me, what you say is an acknowledgement to where our culture is. That if I externalize my emotion, immediately people feel responsible for that, or it comes as blame toward them, making them responsible for my pain. And there is just so much of that. It's so deep in our culture, that confusion, as if somebody can make my pain. So for me, what you say is an acknowledgement of people are likely to actually either hear it as a blame or that they are responsible, which is guilt, that they are the cause of my pain. And therefore, as I understand, you learn, okay, I want to fully live my emotion inside without trouble them in that confusion.
Mm.
Does that resonate how I described it?
Um, I guess I'm coming to another layer of insight, but I want you to continue to complete your. I can say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the continuation of the insight is I was actually listening to a podcast from, I think it's The Art of Accomplishment, which is a whole thing. I'm not really into it, but I liked the podcast. And it was about anger, and this person was saying that it's one thing to project my anger at somebody, and it's another thing to say, I am angry, I am angry. And I think that's what you actually teach, that you can just fully express it, actually. And I
Yeah.
really like that. So yeah, that just came to me now as kind of a deeper layer of insight. So
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to add, maybe.
And I want to say that even if I'm owning my anger fully, like that, because anger has a vertical line, but the text very often has a horizontal power.
Yeah.
If I feel angry, I say, why did you not wash the dishes? It's a kind of horizontal line. And even when I say, yeah, I'm really angry because I really want cleanliness, I love it when it's clean. Still, the other person is very likely to hear it as horizontal, like, why didn't you wash the dishes? So it's very tricky.
Yeah.
It's years and years and years, I believe about 8,000 years of education that you are the cause of my pain. So it's very, very, very hard to liberate from that culturally.
Mm.
So I like what you say about the acknowledgement that how sad, and that for me, it's a huge mourning. It's a huge mourning. Maybe I will link it to a few things. One is the guilt. The other is, for example, all the territory of consent and no. How hard it is culturally to say no. That's culturally. It's years. Dogs are not having hard time to cats. It's a beautiful example. They don't have any problem to say no. But we culturally, it became very complex. And it's the same with that of, if I express my pain, the other person is very likely to hear it as blame or feeling guilt, like responsible for my pain. And it's so deep, deep, deep in our culture that for me, that's a huge mourning because it takes away so much freedom to actually live our emotions fully. But when I realized it first, I was like, okay, yeah, I will live my emotions fully. It's like, yeah, liberation. But it lacked the acknowledgement for the culture we grew up in. That it's not enough to say to another person, "Oh, come on, you can say no to me," or
Mm.
"Come on, you are not responsible for my feeling. I can just be angry, and you can just enjoy." No, it's years and years of education. Everyone around, it's so deep. So it's like I like what you say about, or how I interpret what you do, which is to acknowledge it's, and I like what you found for yourself of like, wow, how can I live my emotion fully in me without necessarily expressing it out, because it's very likely that the other person will feel either guilty or hear it as a blame. But it comes with a mourning because children don't do that. Children just like they live their emotion fully, and their mourning process is extremely fast. So yeah, my mourning process is much slower than children.
I want to say that I'm really not there yet always, especially when I don't sleep enough, which is structurally. So Yeva takes the brunt of my grumpiness and the other way around as well. It's just more something that I aspire to. And I'm curious, I want to hear what the rest of what you wanted to share, but I also want to say that as I understand it, children's brains are also much more egotistical, let's say. They have to be, and much later they develop the social awareness. And maybe in that is also baked in this conditioning of shame and guilt and all of that, of course. But I think in a part is also biologically that they really only can, maybe like a cat or a dog in the beginning years, they just have this kind of simplicity. And I do see how much we can learn from that, by the way. But I'm just saying that I don't think that kids are an ideal standard for the entire social. I'm not, you're not saying that probably, but I'm curious how you relate to that part.
I'm resonating with remembering myself as a kid having much less empathy to others. Much less empathy to my mom. Yeah. So I find it very beautiful how we are developing more and more empathy, like kind of the understanding of the impact our behavior has on others and how to include that in our choices. Yeah. Does that answer?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the way you answered it. Yeah.
Mm. I find it very painful to be with children and teenagers in that sense of how much I would wish them to see me and to include my needs in their actions.
Yeah.
And it happens, but much less than what I would wish.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, you want me to continue on the path of mourning?
Yeah, I'm curious where you're gonna go next.
I'm trying to track back where I was. So I was saying that mourning is the time needed to digest an unpleasant. Maybe I will do a reformulation of what I said so far. So my first definition of mourning is simply how to be with pain, like how to welcome pain and to trust my body that actually pain is there to serve life. That for me the first kind of what mourning means to me. It's the capacity to be with pain and the how to. And the second definition I named was that mourning is the time needed to digest an unpleasant change, whether it is, if my mother died, I need time. Sometimes it takes years to digest this unpleasant change. Or with many daily things, like my cake was burned, or somebody said something that was painful for me to hear, like the time needed for my body to digest this unpleasant change. Then maybe to name a little bit kind of the mourning, what I would call the mourning process, which is what happened in this time. Like if I say mourning is a time needed to digest an unpleasant change, what is happening in this process, in this time, and how to do this process. For me, the biggest key in it is to trust where I am. So for example, before you named anger, I don't know, let's say that my girlfriend left me. Might be that I will feel angry. And that's for me part of the mourning process. There is kind of, often people describe it kind of as layers. For example, first there is a denial, and then anger, and then frustration, like kind of disappointment. And then underneath there is hurt, and underneath there is kind of the pure sadness, which is kind of the pure mourning. And the pure mourning, the sadness, is how the body is, like pain is a contraction. Any unpleasant feeling or sensation in the body is a contraction in the body. you can try to, for people who listen, kind of any pain, you can, if you look in your body, what the body is doing is a certain contraction. While any pleasant feeling, I don't know if I feel happy or if I feel curious, or it's a certain expansion in the body. That movement of expansion and contraction, and the contraction is, as I said, contraction is there to serve life. Maybe I will give my classical example of it, which is depression. Depression, but I'm not speaking now about clinical depression, but depression is a feeling, kind of, the feeling down itself, just the feeling itself. I love it. I love it so much because it's any unpleasant feeling is how my body is contracting in order to bring myself closer to myself, in order to take care of something, like fear, or like, if, for example, if I cut my finger and I have pain, it's how my body is telling me, oh, whoa, whoa, watch this, be careful on that. It's so intelligent how it brings my awareness to, to come closer, to be detailed with how to care for life. And it's the same for me with depression. That depression as a feeling is how my body is kind of pulling me. I really feel it like that. That when I feel depressed, it's really kind of like, and it's scary. And of course, I have my own cultural education that I feel depressed, and immediately I'm kind of, shit, what to do? I'm depressed. I should do something. Maybe I should see a psychologist. Maybe I should, whatever. And I'm not saying that that's bad, but I feel sad that, again, my brain thinks that it knows better than my body. And it often takes me a few days when I feel depressed to kind of, it pulls me, and then my brain, shit, I feel depressed. What to do? I should do something. Maybe, maybe it's, I should change my eating habits. Maybe I should, should. It comes a certain moments when it's just so painful that I have almost no any other choice in trusting it. There is a kind of, some people call it surrender, like kind of, I'm depressed. And there it's very often for me, depression is really how it brings me closer to something I was not aware. In my case, very often my depression is I forgot my honesty. I became kind of a nice, dead, polite person without noticing. I'm kind of, do things for my girlfriend because I know she wants it, for example, but I feel I'm betraying myself. For example, this is just one. But I don't even notice it. But my body notices it. Yet, Yoram, you are not living your integrity. And it pulls me until I hear the message. And with this, I'm just so grateful for depression to bring me to my life project, to my, to my, what my life is about. And it knows much better than my brain. So I'm trying now to hook it back to where I was, which is, the morning. Maybe just before I continue, you wanted to say something, Hans?
Hmm.
I saw you writing something, and I wonder.
Yeah, I have several things I would love to ask and say. Are you open for a question?
Mm-hmm.
And this is not necessarily, I'm just curious, maybe let's just ask a question, because I've heard you say a few times, I want to trust the brain more than the body more than the brain.
Yeah.
But then, of course, the brain is also in the body. So I guess the question is, when do you trust your brain? Is there a moment or an example of, okay, this is where I trust my brain?
It is with hearing the core of what it wants, or what we call to give my brain empathy. So I don't know, for example, my brain is saying, shit, what to do. And so shit, what to do is the thought. And then, but every thought is an expression of a need, of a beautiful kind of core life energy or core life intention, or So if I'm listening, if I what we call, connecting empathically with that thought, like I will just do it now out loud. So my brain is saying, shit, I'm depressed, what to do? And I can, oh, dear brain, are you worried? Yes, I'm very worried. I'm worried that you will stay depressed forever and that you will want to kill yourself. Wow. Wow. So, dear brain, are you wanting to make sure that I'm not killing myself? Yeah, like life is beautiful. Yeah, I want to remind you that life is beautiful, even if you don't see it now. And then I'm like, wow, dear brain, this is so sweet. You want to just remind me that even if now everything looks so dark, to remind me the perspective that actually there are so many beautiful things in life. Thank you, dear brain, for reminding me. And so when I'm hearing the actual message behind the first thought,
Yeah.
then I very much trust the brain because, like you say, the brain is part of the body. Also, every thought is an expression of a need, of
Mm.
something very beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. And then the other thing I just want to name, like, you probably agree, but I'm going to ask also because you were talking about those layers of mourning, and of course they can be different and it's not linear, but those are of course often related, like what despair, anger, denial, all those things. And then for many people listening, and probably for me in many moments, would you say that if I'm angry, okay, one part is of course there's a need there or there's a vulnerability that's being protected. I know you sometimes call it mama bear protecting the baby bear needs, but also I think it's just a really helpful reminder for people to know that, oh, if I'm angry, I actually have some mourning to do somewhere. And this is just a very different relationship to myself. Would you say that's a good pointer for people?
that underneath anger there is always a mourning.
Yeah, or at least I would want to say maybe always, but that it's helpful to check, oh, is there a mourning that wants to happen? Of course, in the middle of anger, that's extremely difficult, but I don't know, to get you out of anger or something. What do you say about that?
Well, first to say, it's a tricky sentence what you just said. How to go out of anger? It's
Yeah. Yeah.
you hear the paradox in it because I'm sneakily
Yeah.
actually not trusting the body.
Yeah.
Um, and I do want anger to serve life. And yeah, if I'm just expressing anger in the way how I learned or how it's instinctively come in me, which is cultural, it comes as a blame to the other person. I can bet that if somebody feels anger, is they have a thought that the other person did something wrong. And it's tragic because the moment you have a thought that the other person did something wrong, in that moment they will stop listening to you.
Yeah.
They will resist, which is so sad. When you're angry, that what you most wish is to be heard and that the other person will take in the feedback and cooperate with you. But in
Yeah.
that moment, the way how anger is being expressed, it creates exactly the opposite.
Yeah.
So, and then you say, hey, is there always, you said not always, but is there a mourning underneath anger? And I would say yes. For example, I don't know, I'm angry that my girlfriend didn't wash the dishes. Oops. Sorry, that's my
Sounds
reminder.
nice.
Just a moment, I need just to write the reminder.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know if I'm angry that my girlfriend didn't wash the dishes. There is a grief that reality is different than what I would wish. My dream is that she will always wash the dishes after she eats. And oops, there is a new unpleasant information coming into the system. Reality is different than what I would wish, and that's mourning. And maybe I will add now something about mourning. That for me, mourning is this beautiful process to move from imagination land to being in reality as reality is. And for example, a very clear example of it is the word should. Anger is I would say 99% of the time carry the word should in it. She should wash the dishes. The word should fights reality. When I think she should wash the dishes, like what is reality is she didn't wash the dishes. But my brain is saying, no, but she should. So my brain fights reality as reality is. And that in this gap, there is what we call suffering. Suffering is fighting with reality as reality is. Suffering is a specific kind of pain. Marshall Rosenberg, he used to relate to it as mourning is a sweet pain and suffering is a bitter pain. It has a different taste. You can feel like people maybe who listen, just the difference between the pain of she should wash the dishes. Just notice how your body kind of feel that kind of pain. She should wash the dishes. Why did she do it again, again, again? Like she doesn't care about me. It has actually underneath it's a powerlessness. That they should carry a powerlessness because it's like I don't have power to change her actually. And that's suffering. Like she should, but reality is actually she didn't. And there is a gap there. And as I mentioned before, mourning is that process to bridge the gap between imagination land. Imagination is like she washed the dishes. Right? She should wash the dishes. Reality is that she didn't. And in this gap, there is mourning. Mourning is a process of moving from imagination land to what we call acceptance. Acceptance is, for me, acceptance is a spiritual state. It's, sometimes people say, come on, you should accept her as she is, or accept your parent, or it's time to accept, or as if acceptance is something to do. You should accept me. Acceptance for me is not something to do. Acceptance is a side effect of a mourning process. For me, acceptance is an incredible spiritual state, which is to be in reality as reality is. It's kind of one of my biggest dream in life is to function from a place of acceptance, of a place of like meeting reality. And sometimes people immediately think, yeah, but is it passive? Like you should fight, against injustice. Or for me, acceptance is an incredible power. We could do another podcast just about that, like why I find it to be an incredible power to actually, stand up for needs. It's not passive at all, but it is a condition, like the exercise we did before, in the body, when this you had a sensation, and I just said, oh, so you have you have a tension there, and by me naming it with you and you naming it, oh yes, there is a tension there. It brings your attention to reality as reality is for a moment, and it's enough just 2 seconds of acceptance, of naming what is. For example, if people say to me, Yoram, I'm really angry with you, I feel really happy in that moment because I know in that moment they are not angry anymore. Because the moment they say I'm angry, and if I'm not fighting it, if I say, oh, come on, like I was not like da 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 da. No, if I'm accepting their anger and they themselves, they name it, I'm angry. In that moment, I know they are not angry and it starts to move. When what is named, it starts to move. When it's welcomed or when the quality of acceptance is there, it starts to move. So now I'm trying to track back where I was. Do you remember?
Honestly, no. I was just with you there. And can I just name one little reflection that
Yeah, please.
is that, and I think you're probably saying that in a way that acceptance can very much begin with accepting that I do not accept something. Like, oh no, I just don't want this, F this shit.
Yeah.
and then okay, but that's, I can accept that whatever is real, or wherever my acceptance really is, that is always
Yeah.
available.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, that seems to
Yeah.
me.
I love how you say, and it is exactly what I wanted to say before about the layers of mourning. You know, if I feel angry, you know, sometimes people tell me, come on, you are angry at your parents in so long. You know, it's time to let it go. For me, that's the opposite of what I love about mourning process. Is mourning process is to meet myself. Okay, if I'm angry now, then to live my emotions fully. And if I can live my emotion fully, anger will not stay very long. It will start moving to more vulnerable layers. So yeah, I'm resonating very much with what you said.
Hmm.
And still my brain is trying to track because I was on a certain something. I had a side note and then I forgot my my main route. So
Yeah.
I'll just breathe into that pain. That's for example, now that's a mourning. You know, I had a thread, and now comes on, you know, the fear of, oh, can the audience follow me? And that's a pain. And my only job is to welcome that pain, and I can already connect with the sweetness in it of, oh, I so wish it to be clear for people to listen to, and now I feel more sad. You know, the fear of to imagine, oh, I'm not clear and people cannot follow me. Oh, there is so much loneliness in that, and a sense of a failure.
Hmm.
So for example, just and a sense of a failure. Suddenly I go to another layer in the mourning process, which is kind of, you know, judging myself. I'm a failure. And then habitually I'm thinking, oh, I was already in sadness. And now I go back to, no, it's not go back. It's mourning is to meet myself where I am moment by moment in the layer that is there. So now I'm like, yeah, I'm a failure. And out, I feel kind of my whole chest is like, whoa, I'm a failure. Immediately come kind of the fear of like, oh, nobody would want to listen to me. And I feel my hand is a little bit shaking. Yeah, like this image of I'm alone in the world. Nobody wants to listen to me because I'm not good enough. And I don't know why, but there is suddenly a certain calmness coming. Like it's kind of the taste of, yeah, I just do the best I know how to do. And that's a very sweet, like I didn't do that. It's like it came to me through meeting the I'm a failure, I'm not good enough. And suddenly, like in my belly, now it's not anymore there. It's already shifted. But there was a moment of my belly did kind of like, oh yeah, I'm just doing the best I can. Kind of a sense of sweetness towards myself and a sense of anchoredness. And now
Of
there
what?
is
Sorry, anchoredness. Anchoredness.
anchor, yeah, a sense of anchoredness of like,
Hmm.
that's me. Yeah. And now came a sadness. I don't even know yet what it is. It came a certain sadness. And my brain wants to understand what it is, and then my body say, I don't know yet what it is, but I feel certain sadness. And now come kind of a sweetness towards Hans that he's just with me in my sadness. He just remind me I was mediating a couple yesterday, and it was so sweet, just a moment when one could cry and the other could just relax and be present with them, and that became the most meaningful experience. Yeah, and that brings sadness of just how many times I don't allow myself to feel because I sense that the other person gets stressed. And now it kind of like, oh yeah, that was a sadness also before. Just how rare it is that I can feel my feelings. And that brings more sadness. How rare it is that I can just feel my feeling, feel safe enough to just feel my feelings. And suddenly there is no sadness. there is kind of hope or inspiration of like, yeah. And that's for me the kind of the core of mourning is that sadness. It brings me to my life project, to the core of what I want in life. And when I'm connected to that, the way how it comes to me now, I want to be an emotional being. I want to live my emotions to offer them the space they need, and even to receive Hans' company in it. That's very, very sweet. It's so much nicer when someone is with me there. And when I'm connecting to that, and so further is the clarity of acceptance of like, oh, my sadness, had a beautiful message. It was not there for, it's not something to get rid of. It's more like, oh, it brought me closer to myself. But also underneath acceptance in the mourning process, there is new creativity. There is a power. And that's for me, kind of sort of the end of the mourning process. There is a sadness, and underneath the sadness, there is acceptance. Like I'm in reality as reality is, connecting to the core of what is important. And then comes power of this is what I want in my life. In every situation, now I'm immediately thinking about my girlfriend, thinking about different situation. This is what I want to bring to live my emotions fully. So now there is not mourning anymore. Now there is kind of creativity of like, whoa, new power, yay!
I have a question about it,
Yeah.
which is, um, how do you hold the trust that you have in the mourning process to bring you to creativity, together with truly having no change agenda when you are with the mourning?
And the agenda you mean, for example, I'm doing it in order to get rid of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Is that alive in you at all, or yeah? I'm
It's
curious.
just
It's a real question for
it's
me.
very beautiful how the body will not let you do that.
Mm.
Because if you do it with the agenda of actually I do it in order to get rid of the pain, then you have a new pain.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
body is just like
yeah,
the body
yeah,
is so clear.
yeah,
It will simply not work, or it will just you will have a new pain.
yeah. Yeah, you often say that human beings are bullshit detectors, and I guess you are your own bullshit detector in that regard.
Yeah, my body is my bullshit detector. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, and
body
yeah,
cannot lie.
yeah,
That's so incredible.
yeah. I think I remember, by the way, the thread that you were exploring earlier. If it was
Yeah.
that one, you
Uh-huh.
were, maybe it's not, but you said at some point there are two kinds of suffering. There's oh no, there are two kinds of pain. One is the pain of suffering,
No.
and one is the pain of mourning. I wonder if that's where you were at.
Yes,
Yay!
I read you as brilliant. Yeah, I wanted to just try to give the taste of that, the difference between, for example, yeah, like why you don't wash the dishes. Why you don't wash the dishes? Like, how many times do I have to tell you, wash your fucking dishes? Are you leaving it to me to do it? All this, like, and I feel kind of this, the taste of pain that comes in my body now is, what I like to call bitter pain. Is a pain that is including suffering of fighting reality. Marshall, he named mourning as a sweet pain, like self-connected pain. Like the bitter pain carry a powerlessness that, you know, I put myself in, I want to change my girlfriend, but my girlfriend doesn't change. So it's become suffering, like I'm fighting reality. And mourning will sound like that. It's like, oh, I'm so scared that I will become like my mom, who is just caring for all the practical things in the house. And everyone is just, do whatever they want. Like they are creative and I'm just the slave. Yeah, I really feel a contraction in my belly. I'm really scared to become a slave. That I'm doing all the kind of the practical work and everyone else is doing the creative work. I'm so scared of that. That my life will just become a practical slave. And I really believe it. Like, wow, if my girlfriend will not wash the dishes, then I will become a slave. I will not be able to shine. I want to shine. I really want to shine. And it brings sadness. Like really the fear that I will not shine. I will not shine. I will just be a slave. Just to name it, you see, for example, now my brain was telling me, oh, this is a longer mourning process. You know, can I do it in a podcast? You know, like, because maybe I need an hour now.
Mhm.
I cannot rush a mourning process. The body is too intelligent. So now I'm doubting, you know, and this is an example of, you know, what you said about the brain. Is the brain also have, you know, important messages? Yeah, like my brain brought me a very important message now. Whether it will serve if I will do now an hour of a morning process in a podcast, because my brain want to remind me I really want to support, you know, people to be engaged. So now I'm doubting if to continue that with that specific morning process because it's a bigger one. And I have a sense I already gave you a taste of it. Do you have a similar sense?
Yeah, I get the sense that you're really kind of showing me and us the step by step just being with yourself, and all the time I'm noticing that it brings you into places from one place to the next, and yeah, but the message
Yeah.
is I'm being with myself, I'm being with what is, and then something moves, and then I'm following it, and then I come out another place.
Mm.
That's the sense I'm getting. It's quite engaging.
Yeah. And I can already say that I touched one point there about when I said I'm scared not to shine. Like the moment I said it already, like, oh, I do see that I shine. So there was already kind of a certain reassurance of I do have my corner of shining. Because yeah, it is kind of, it's a very old story, you know, that how as a child I saw my mom being a slave. Actually, my mom, I believe, quite enjoyed it.
Mm.
But I told myself a painful story about it. So it's maybe to also to name it as about healing. For example, this story, I touched it many times and it still come back. And the word, you can hear the judgment in the word still come back. Kind of, I'm a failure not to heal myself. But yeah, for me, healing is not about, you know, getting rid of or, you know, my pains in the past or heal myself as becoming kind of a completely fresh, liberated human being, and more, as I named it before, healing for me is just connecting with the healing movement in the body, which was just happening now, like just touching again, again, this pain, this story,
Mm.
and just allowing it, like not trying to change it, not trying to, oh shit, again, I have this, oh, I'm a slave, and no, like it comes now fresh. I'm scared to be a slave. And the moment I said it, I feel a beautiful movement in my belly. It touched me deeply. And already I'm celebrating that of it's not to get rid of the old story. It's each time I'm caressing it, or each time I'm welcoming it, or each time I'm allowing it, there is actually a very beautiful movement because I'm touching the depth of my authenticity. I'm present, like we started at the beginning. Like when I say I don't know, it's unpleasant, but suddenly it becomes pleasant because I'm present. So I find it important to name it, that I'm not doing mourning in order to heal my childhood trauma and so that it never comes back. Because
Mm.
each time it comes back, um, that's acceptance of, oh, it came back. That's welcome to reality. And actually, it touched me deeply. It's sweet. Now I'm just touched with saying that. Oh, and last thing I want to say, it's just because I said before very quickly, I said it's very hard to do it alone. Like this exercise that we did before, in the body to welcome pain, it's very hard to do it alone. Because 8,000 years of education, my brain is constantly saying, shit, I have pain, what to do and how to get rid of it, how to solve it, what should I do? So it's very hard to do alone. But just the fact, Hans, that you listen to me, that you are with me in it, it gives me more power to be able to welcome my pain. To do it alone is very, very hard. And for me, that's a core thing that millions of cultures discovered it, that I deeply believe that people are not meant to mourn alone. I love it so much. So many different cultures develop that. If somebody dies, then the whole, for example, in the Jewish tradition that I came from, the 7 days you do nothing, and just everyone who loves you are coming to be with you to cry.
Mhm.
Or I know for example, in Korea, there is a profession where, you hire certain, it's, as I know, it's women, I'm not 100% sure, and they come to do like this, just to support you to feel safe to cry.
Mhm.
It's so beautiful. And so many, I know also in Morocco, they developed something similar. And we are not meant to mourn alone. It's too hard to welcome my pain alone. I need the presence of another person. But then the quality of presence is very important. For example, now just that you offer me, silent listening. You don't try to fix me or to get rid of my pain or to solve it. Or no, I find it so painful if I'm in pain and somebody tell me it will be okay. Don't worry. They cut my mourning process. They try to bring me to acceptance while I'm in anger or in pain or in disappointment. Or if somebody knows how to just simply do nothing and just be with me in the layer I am, it's like, really, I cannot imagine something more precious. And this is also, I so wish that in our culture people will learn that they don't need to do anything but just be with. It's so powerful because when you are relaxed and just be with me, it's like you see me. The moment you see me, it gives me power to see myself. If you don't see me, it's so hard to see myself.
Mm.
I'm thinking now about parents. It's like I believe the biggest gift I received, for example, from my mom is that she saw me. Not that she, gave me good advices or something. She saw me, that she was able to listen to me and just to see me. Because each time she saw me, I could see myself. And that's the biggest power I have, the capacity to see myself.
Mm. Yeah, to that last part, I've had this thought yesterday, I think, or I've had it for a while, that there's, of course, the needs list, and it's, of course, a kind of a life list, and it will change, maybe will be added or subtracted some needs. And, there's a need to be seen, there's a need to be heard, there's a need to be understood. But I think the common denominator is it's actually the need to be witnessed, is what it's kind of the need underneath that. And I
Mhm.
also wanted, that's just a little reflection. And I also wanted to add to the cultural expressions of mourning. I don't know if it's cultural, but elephants also have the group mourning when one elephant dies, and I even think that they go back regularly to the place of the body or
Wow.
something. But yeah, it's beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm listening.
yeah,
Oh, they just bring me such sweetness too.
yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, this is a bit random maybe, but I imagine you must have seen my octopus teacher, about the octopus that it
Ah, no.
becomes a friend. Oh, yeah, I don't know why, but it's so moving for me. Yeah, it's a bit random that I go there now, but yeah. Have you heard of that, by the way? Or
It's kind of a vague memory, but
yeah,
I didn't. It's a
yeah,
film, no?
yeah. It's a documentary by or about a diver who actually really makes a friendship with an octopus. Uh, and talking about brains, I learned yesterday that they have one brain in every tentacle and then another brain in their head. So yeah, anyway, talking about brains. Uh,
Wow.
I'm curious whether you feel there's another wave around mourning that you'd like to go into, or how are you with it?
Oh, how long are we already on?
So now we're 121, 122.
Oh, maybe it's enough. I don't know. I'm open. I don't have anything urgent to add. I'm open to continue. Maybe it's enough.
Yeah. Um, let's see. The one thing, and I will probably cut it out, but I have to pee. I'm very happy for it to be for us to leave it here. And on the other hand, there could also be this thought of, oh, what if there's more and we don't do this that often? What if it's the last one? But then I also don't want to kind of have this maximizing attitude, if you know what I mean. It's enough when it's enough. I'm curious, yeah. Would it be your preference to leave it here?
I don't have a preference.
Okay.
I have a thought that, oh, maybe it's enough for today. And
Yeah. Yeah, I'm happy with that too. But then you know, I can do some other stuff too, which is good.
you're gonna
Um,
get married
I'm gonna get married. Yes, in
in
2 days from
2 days.
now. Yeah, yeah. And my future in-laws, they just arrived like an hour ago or something. I'm of course gonna say hello to them.
Hmm.
But yeah,
I don't know. I have this thought of asking you, so what morning comes in you if
yeah.
you're gonna get married in 2 days?
Well, the morning really, because the thing is, I really want to. I'm very happy with Yeva, and there's also the part of me. I mean, we're really good together, and I'm so grateful that I get to be a dad for my children that is there because my father was not there. That's just the morning of a lifetime. That is just super
Wow.
crucial, I think, to have a healthy, stable father. Of course, there are different constellations possible, but I think generally speaking, that's just really healthy. But yeah, for the wedding, I don't have mourning. I mean, there is some mourning that can come with monogamy that I also have, but I'm quite aware. At least that's what I tell myself. But I mean, I'm curious about other women. There's like, ooh, what would that be? But for me, what helps is just also to just allow that to be there, and also knowing that, you know, from experience, that if I'm with the hottest woman I've ever seen, after a while, it becomes just another person, and it's never, satisfying in the long run anyway. And I think I have some kind of, there is this craving for novelty. I think many men, not all men, but many men have it. There's this just curiosity is another way to say it. That's there. So yeah, that's okay to be there. So that's, I can see it as a mourning, but yeah, that's also not something to avoid. And I want to focus on, just the amazing thing I get to do with these children. So, which is extremely difficult in different ways and deep mornings every day. But I think there's a lot of gratitude and dignity and love and joy in it. As also because I am in the difficult moments, I think there's something that grows out of it or something.
Mm.
So yeah, those are some things that come to me when you say that.
Hmm.
And there's a daily mourning that's already there of, shit, I said something I didn't want to say. Shit, I behaved in this way again. I mean, you know me, you know how I can be sometimes. that's not always, that's still there. And like I said earlier, especially when I'm super tired and we're just living with 2 young children and not a lot of support network. So yeah, mourning is a lot. And what is really helping me is what I learned from you. And I'm kind of continuing it in my way with Alethea, that I'm receiving myself, is just to accept what is and accept difficult emotions and accept painful pain. It's, I think, as for me, the thing, equanimity in that sense of really allowing it to be there. And yeah, so that's my little
I love
stuff.
what you said about, the pain that you experience with your children. That somehow, in a weird way, it actually, in a way, bring more love.
Yeah,
Or, if you said love, but it brings something if
yeah,
you pass through it. And
yeah,
I just find it really beautiful as an inspiration to remember that, wow, if I can stay present with the pain that, like you say, with children, it's like everyday pain.
yeah,
But actually, that passing through it brings something very precious. Wow.
yeah. And for me, one thing that it is clearly showing is just, how to say it, you just, people say that kids are a mirror, they just reflect back. Maybe to say it, they are also a bullshit detector. So when I come to Izzy to get a hug, but I actually want it because I need validation, she was like, "Nee." She's like, "No, I don't want that energy." It's so, it's intriguing how she feels that, but she's really feeling it, and it's good feedback, and it's painful, but I like it's so much better than not having that feedback and just keep on rolling in my mental afflictions through life. So it's better to get the feedback. Yeah. I'm just completely leaving this in, by the way. This is good stuff. So I'm curious if you want to, maybe I would love you to have the last word. So just for me, thank you very much. I was again touched and I just love this. And I have little doubt that people will deeply enjoy listening to you. So anything
You
that,
are. I didn't hear you say you are in doubt.
no, I have little doubt that
I
people will enjoy. And yeah, yeah. So yeah, what would kind of give you a sense of closure? Would you like to say any last words? The mic is yours.
No. I'm complete. I
All
mean,
right.
it's a nice sense of, I could say millions of things, but I don't have to.
Mm,
Like, it's not because my brain is telling me, oh, I should say something uh, interesting and important that somehow do that to the whole podcast at the end.
mm,
And then I'm like, nothing comes to me at this
mm.
moment. And yeah, it's a sweet feeling of being relaxed about it, of trusting that I said many things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Hans. I enjoyed it very much.
Thank you. And
Again, very much
oh,
enjoying,
sorry.
very much enjoying your listening. And
Mm, yeah. Yeah.
you
I'm
would,
gonna, yeah, I just wanted to say I'm gonna break my rule because I wanted to say something. Maybe you are my, you're so embodied with your brain. Maybe you are my octopus teacher with all the brains in all your body.
every cell. I do actually have this sense that every cell in the body have a feeling and a need.
Mm,
Like in that sense, every cell is an eye or has a brain or
yeah.
intelligent or yeah.
Mm. Yeah. I would love to talk much more with you. So maybe we have to do another one without the shoot, but with the, it's just awesome to listen and speak with you.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.